Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming out. My therapist came to see me do stand-up for the first time last night. She sat right there, told me after the show she thought I did a great job. It was the best therapy session I've ever had. Turns out the key to my happiness is her paying to see me. It's a neat little twist. Are you guys loyal to certain brands? Like you buy the same kind of shoes or bread or whatever? I think most of us are. I am brand loyal. I've had the same weed dealer for 27 years. We're both pretty proud of that. I enjoy smoking weed, but you know what else I think I'd like? To confidently take a drug test. I think that would be neat. I'm in my 40s, and so far, real coin flip every time. People always talk about the downside of using cocaine. You usually only hear the negative stuff, but I used it every day for almost 2 years and off and on for 15, and I'm not about to stand up here and disparage cocaine tonight. Without cocaine, I would have never worked up the courage to steal from my family and friends. Cocaine made that possible. Live your dreams. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and in June I turned 3 years sober. But it feels, thank you. It feels weird to say I'm sober though, because I do still occasionally smoke weed. I said that line of this joke at a show recently, and a guy in the crowd yelled out, "Well, you're not sober then." So I let a few seconds of shame wash over me before turning to this gentleman and saying, "Sir, you're not wrong. You are also not an asshole." Just let me have a puff, man. I'm not hurting anybody. I recently got a massage for the first time in like 20 years, so I didn't know this, but now you can provide information online and get matched with a masseuse before your appointment. They ask you to describe your body type, and I had climbed one flight of stairs that day, so I clicked athletic. A week later, before I laid down on the massage table, I took a look at my body, and it occurred to me that I am an athlete in the same way a fat house cat is a mountain lion. Technically the same species, just watered down versions. I bet there are a lot of people like me who describe themselves as athletic, and when they show up, the masseuse is like, "You don't know what athletic means. You're more fatletic." How do I look? I feel like I'm getting a dad bod, which is short for dad body, which is one letter away from dead body. Just something for you fathers to think about. Studies have shown the people we find most attractive have very symmetrical features, like eyes spaced apart evenly, level cheekbones, square jaw. I am asymmetrical. I've got this big mole over here. I've got this deformed ear over here. My left testicle is bigger than the other two. When it comes to dating, a lot of guys are wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I'm more, would you like to listen to Wham in my van, ma'am? It's a little different. My grandma died in February, and at the funeral service, I'm in the receiving line greeting people. A woman walks up and says, "Tony, I doubt you remember me, but you spent a lot of time at my house when you were in middle school. You and my son Rodney were good friends." And as soon as she said Rodney, I remembered her. Rodney and I were best friends in middle school. I did hang out at his house a lot. When I was 13, 14 years old, I was so attracted to Rodney's mom, and I realized at the funeral that day that I still am. I came so close to asking this 65-year-old woman for her phone number at my grandma's funeral. Before she moved down the line, she said, "Rodney would love to hear from you. Why don't you give him a call?" And I was like, "Why don't we go out and you just tell me how Rodney's doing?" And that's how you get kicked out of your grandma's funeral, everybody. Just a life lesson. I had an uncle who liked his steaks cooked rare. People who like their meat cooked rare, some of them lean all the way into that. My uncle was one of those people. He even had little things he would say about it in the restaurant. A server would ask him how he wanted his steak cooked, and my uncle would say things like, "Just hold a lighter under mine." I thought of a couple other examples. "Sir, how would you like your steak cooked?" "Get my steak from a cow that was sunburned one time." "Sir, how would you like your steak cooked?" "Hold a raw steak in your hand and just think about the movie Heat." That uncle died of a heart attack. He wanted to be cremated, which is ironic. Considering how he liked his steaks cooked, I suggested we just brown him a little bit on both sides. But we honored the family's wish and got him well done. Cooked him all the way through. Have you ever seen a new cemetery? I saw one recently. Just 6 headstones and a lot of potential. This was in my hometown, and I'm getting older, so I stopped to see if I could recognize any of the names in this skeleton patch. A couple minutes later, a lady came by to put flowers on one of the graves, and because I'm the king of creating awkward situations, I turned to her and said, "Won't it look nice when they fill this place up?" She did not share my enthusiasm for populating the cemetery. I'm Tony Castleberry. Have a good night.